Mazda, a brand built on passion, innovation, and the thrill of driving. From rotary engines that scream to lightweight roadsters that define fun, Mazda has never followed the crowd. It's always led with heart. Today, we're counting down the top 5 Mazda cars of all time, from track legends to cult icons that changed the game. And trust me, number 1 is a true masterpiece. So buckle up, hit that subscribe button, and let's dive into Mazda's legendary lineup. At number 5, we start with the car that defined Mazda's philosophy, the Mazda MX-5 Miata. When it launched in 1989, the automotive world had almost forgotten what pure driving fun meant. Heavy cars, automatic transmissions, and digital gadgets were replacing the simple joy of an open-top roadster. Then Mazda came along with a small, light, perfectly balanced machine that reminded everyone why we fall in love with driving in the first place. The MX-5 Miata wasn't built to break records, it was built to make you smile. It combined a 1.6-litre 4-cylinder engine with rear-wheel drive and nearly perfect 50-50 weight distribution. It wasn't about raw power, but about connection. Every gear change, every corner, every slide felt natural, precise, alive. The Miata wasn't just a car, it was an extension of you. Inspired by classic British roadsters like the Lotus Elan, Mazda refined that concept with Japanese reliability and engineering precision. The result was a car that handled like a dream and never broke down doing it. Over the decades, the Miata has evolved. More power, more refinement, more technology, but it has never lost its essence. Whether you're driving the original NA with its pop-up headlights or the modern ND with sleek lines and sharp handling, the spirit is the same: lightness, balance, and fun. The MX-5 became the world's best-selling 2-seater sports car, a title that still stands today. It's loved by racers, collectors, and casual drivers alike because it delivers something money can't buy: pure joy. In a world obsessed with horsepower and luxury badges, the Miata quietly reminds us that driving isn't about showing off, it's about feeling alive. And that's why the MX-5 isn't just a great Mazda, it's one of the greatest cars ever made. Coming in at number 4, we have the car that put Mazda's name on the map, the Mazda RX-3. Back in the early 1970s, Mazda wasn't known for speed or performance. They were just another small Japanese automaker trying to survive in a world dominated by giants like Toyota and Nissan. But then came the RX-3, small, loud, and absolutely fearless. Powered by Mazda's revolutionary rotary engine, it became the car that proved big things could come in small packages. The RX-3 was one of the first production cars to use the 12A rotary engine, a compact powerhouse that could rev like crazy and deliver smooth, high-revving performance unlike any piston engine of its time. It didn't sound like anything else, a sharp, high-pitched wail that would become the signature sound of Mazda's racing legacy. And it wasn't just noise. The RX-3 earned its place in history by dominating the Japanese touring car scene, going head-to-head with Nissan Skylines and taking home real victories. Its lightweight chassis, quick steering, and high-revving rotary made it a weapon on the track. What's even more impressive is that the RX-3 did all this while still being a practical everyday car. You could drive it to work during the week and to the racetrack on the weekend. It was the perfect balance between accessibility and aggression, a formula that would later define Mazda's entire philosophy. The RX-3's success laid the foundation for what would become the RX bloodline, paving the way for legends like the RX-7 and RX-8. Without it, Mazda's rotary dream might have died before it even began. Today, the RX-3 is a collector's gem, rare, raw, and full of character. It's the car that started a revolution, proving that passion and ingenuity can outperform size and power. The RX-3 wasn't just Mazda's first taste of performance, it was the spark that ignited the brand's soul. Taking the number 3 spot, we have a car that represents the final heartbeat of Mazda's legendary rotary era, the Mazda RX-8. Introduced in 2003, the RX-8 had a nearly impossible task: follow the iconic RX-7 and keep the rotary dream alive in a new millennium. And somehow, Mazda pulled it off. The RX-8 wasn't just another sports car, it was a bold experiment, combining innovation, design, and driving purity in a way only Mazda could. Under the hood sat the Renesis engine, a naturally aspirated 1.3-litre rotary that could scream up to 9,000 RPM. It wasn't the most powerful, around 238 horsepower, but the way it delivered that power was magic. Smooth, free revving, and endlessly addictive, the RX-8 offered a driving sensation unlike anything else on the road. What made it truly unique was its design. The RX-8 featured those signature rear-hinged freestyle doors, giving it the practicality of a 2+2 coupe without sacrificing style. Its curvy body and aggressive stance stood out from everything else in its class. It wasn't trying to be flashy, it was futuristic, balanced, and unmistakably Mazda. But the RX-8's real genius was in its handling. Perfect 50-50 weight distribution, lightweight chassis, and razor-sharp steering gave it a level of balance that car journalists still rave about today. It was the kind of car that made even a short drive feel like a track day. Of course, the rotary engine came with its quirks, higher fuel consumption and tricky maintenance, but for enthusiasts, those were small prices to pay for the joy it delivered. The RX-8 marked the end of an era. When production stopped in 2012, the rotary engine went silent, but its spirit never died. Fans still dream of the day Mazda brings it back, maybe in the long-awaited RX-9. The RX-8 was more than a car, it was a love letter to driving and the final chapter in one of the most unique stories in automotive history. At number 2, we have the car that made Mazda a global icon, the legendary Mazda RX-7. Born in 1978, the RX-7 wasn't just another sports car, it was a revolution. It took Mazda's tiny, high-revving rotary engine and built an entire legacy around it. Lightweight, agile, perfectly balanced, and powered by an engine no one else dared to master, the RX-7 quickly became one of the most beloved driver's cars in history. Through its 3 generations, SA, FC, and FD, the RX-7 evolved from a humble sports coupe into a purebred performance machine. Each version refined the formula, but it was the FD3S, the third and final generation, that became truly legendary. With its sleek, curvy design, twin-turbo rotary engine pushing out up to 276 horsepower, and near-perfect 50-50 balance, the FD RX-7 wasn't just fast, it was alive. Every turn, every throttle blip, every turbo hiss connected you directly to the road. It wasn't a car you simply drove, it was a car you danced with. The RX-7's lightweight chassis and instant throttle response made it a favorite among racers, drifters, and tuners around the world. It dominated circuits, mountain passes, and even Hollywood. From Initial D to Fast and Furious, the RX-7 became a pop culture icon. But beyond the fame, the RX-7 represented everything Mazda stood for: creativity, courage, and a relentless pursuit of driving perfection. It wasn't built to compete with Ferrari or Porsche. It was built to show that a small Japanese brand could build something just as thrilling, just as emotional, and far more unique. Even today, more than 2 decades later, the RX-7 remains one of the most celebrated sports cars ever made. Clean examples are skyrocketing in value, and its rotary wail still gives goosebumps to anyone lucky enough to hear it. The Mazda RX-7 wasn't just a success, it was a statement. Proof that innovation and passion can beat brute force and money any day. And finally, taking the number 1 spot, the car that didn't just make history, it screamed it across the finish line. The Mazda 787B, born in 1991, wasn't just a racing car, it was a symphony of engineering genius, courage, and pure rotary madness. Powered by Mazda's incredible R26B 4-rotor engine producing around 700 horsepower and revving to an ear-shattering 10,500 RPM, the 787B wasn't the loudest car at Le Mans, it was the one that sang the sweetest. Its high-pitched scream became the soundtrack of victory, echoing through the Mulsanne Strait as it chased immortality. On June 23, 1991, the impossible happened. The Mazda 787B won the 24 Hours of Le Mans outright. Not just any win, it was the first and only victory by a Japanese manufacturer and the only car in history to win Le Mans with a rotary engine. It beat legends from Mercedes, Jaguar, and Porsche, giants of endurance racing, using Mazda's unique rotary technology and relentless reliability. The 787B's drivers, Volker Weidler, Johnny Herbert, and Bertrand Gachot, pushed the orange and green renowned machine to perfection, completing 362 laps of glory. When the checkered flag fell, Mazda had achieved what no one thought possible, proving that innovation, not conformity, wins races. After its victory, the rotary engine was banned by regulation changes, meaning no one could ever replicate what Mazda had done. That's part of what makes the 787B legendary. It wasn't just fast, it was one of a kind. Even today, when the 787B starts up at Goodwood All-in-One Classic, crowds go silent and then explode in awe. That wailing 4-rotor engine reminds everyone of a time when passion beat power and sound became history. The Mazda 787B isn't just Mazda's greatest car, it's one of the greatest racing machines ever built. A symbol of innovation, courage, and the soul of driving itself.
And there you have it, the top 5 Mazdas of all time.
Which one stole your heart? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us next time for another legendary lineup. Until then, keep driving with soul.